This is Lewis Art for Boxing Social in association with Empire Fight Store and William Hill. I'm delighted today to be joined with Johnny Fisher. We're here, Tibbs' gym. We're in Essex. How are we feeling, mate?
Good, thanks, mate. How are you? Good to see you again.
Doing good, mate. Doing good. All the better for seeing you. June the 10th, we're back out. Wembley Arena, massive fight. Another, hopefully, a massive ticket sale for you. How are we feeling going into it?
Yeah, feeling good, mate. Been training for a couple of weeks now, just getting myself back into gear. And I've learnt from previous camps, don't have to train for too long either. You've got to peak at the right time. The last one I had a very, very long camp. I felt in good shape for it, but perfect amount of time now to get ready.
How much would you say now over your pro career that you've learned about, training, fitness and all sorts of types of things, and especially when now you're going to end up moving up rounds, you're going to start fighting 10 rounders, 12 rounders, soon. Is it important now to get this knowledge in now of, how important it is training?
Yeah, training is a huge part of it, learning about your body. Jimmy Tibbs always says you learn about yourself, you get a little bit better each time. Sonny Cannon knows that as well, my strength and conditioner. You tick certain boxes as you go. And as you said, I've had one 8-rounder, moving into 8-rounders and then 10s and 12s. So the journey is getting up there now. So what is it, my 9th fight coming up? So we're just getting into that mix.
Is it sort of difficult or frustrating at times where, you've obviously already got this big support and, you've always got these big people coming out for you, but, do you want to be moved on quickly? Do you want to be fast-tracked? Like, you want to be fighting in them 10, 12 rounders of the big fights, or, are you happy to take it as it comes?
I'll take it as it comes. 24 years old, and I've got a crowd that will come out. People won't get that in their whole career sometimes, so it's hard to know how to navigate that because we want to give people exciting fights. But it's knowing my worth as well, my value, and I don't want to just give that away to people either, you know what I mean? People have got to earn their right as well.
Absolutely, with this fight being in London, everyone always comes out to support you, and it's always big when you're in town. But is there some sort of extra special when you're sort of fighting in London, and that no matter what, you're going to get you're going to get a big ticket sale no matter what?
Yeah, it's great to have that. I've had that since my full fight, obviously after lockdown. The first 2 fights were behind closed doors, then the Matchroom Garden, and I've had it since the beginning, and it's just always amazing. It's always amazing that I can bring a crowd out like that, no matter who I fight. But we're slowly stepping up the levels and we're trying to increase every time. That doesn't mean I need to rush in and take a big fight here or a big fight there, but we are slowly creeping up the levels, and I'll do it on my terms and no one else's.
How would you say this camp's, looking at for you? Sort of about 7 or 8 weeks now out 7 or 8 weeks out now. What would you say, you've been learning in terms of, this camp going? How's it gone so far with it being early doors?
Yeah, I've been sparring some good bit. I can't say who I've been sparring, but I've got some good rounds in this week. Just learning all the time, not only in sparring, but you're learning about yourself when you're training with Mark. Mark's got so much knowledge. When it comes to boxing, there's no one better at explaining things and breaking things down. So I am learning all the time. I like to watch my old fights back as well. And there's things that I look at and I think, I should be doing that, I should be doing this. And it's just about relaxing. And another thing is sparring is completely different to a fight. So you might spar really well, but then under the lights you're very different. You're a bit more nervous, you're a bit more tense. So that's something I've got to get used to as well.
How important is it for you to have someone like Mark, where, I'm not saying that you feel like this, but a lot of times people could feel like, they already know enough, but it's important do you feel like you get that sort of extra percentages from him where you're learning and, he's teaching you things that you didn't even know?
Yeah, 1,000,000%. I never want to be... Mark's a boxing trainer, he knows more about boxing than I know and may ever know, so that's why Mark's my trainer. I learn from him. The minute I stop learning from him, which won't be for a very, very, very long time, it might not be ever, so what's the point otherwise? So you want someone who's got an abundance of knowledge like Mark, like Jimmy, and then learning about strength and conditioning with Sonny as well. I've got to keep learning, otherwise you're just going to stand still.
How important is it, that relationship between the fighter and the trainer? You see guys who, bounce around a lot of different trainers, but having someone that's solidified with you and that is with you for the whole time, that not only you look at as a trainer, not only just a boxing trainer, but also a friend or a figure that you look up to.
I've always looked up to Mark even before he trained me. Mark's one of us. He's cut from the same cloth as me, and my family is from the East End, Canning Town. That's where all my family are from. So it feels like an honour and a privilege every time that I train with Mark and Jimmy. I feel like even Jimmy last week was training me for a week, and I just feel very, very honoured to be in his presence and knowing the history of what he's done. And for someone like me who is, although I'm 8 fights in now, still a relative, not a beginner because I'm beyond that stage now, but I'm learning and being educated all the time. It's very, very humbling to have that.
Absolutely. No, one thing I wanted to ask you about, and obviously with your profile, there's become a lot of eyes on you, and with that, people are going to sort of want to take that from you. So recently, I think I've seen you getting called out sort of more than ever by all different people. What's that like for you? Where is it a good thing when you see anything? Because to be getting called out, people wanting to fight you must be doing something right.
Yeah, it is. It's a compliment. It's obvious that people want to come and join the party, but it's irrelevant to me. They've got to earn their right, and when it's right for me, I'll do it on my terms, and I'm not afraid to say that. I'll fight anyone on my day. I think I'll give anyone a good fight because I've got a big right hand, and it's a danger to anyone. But I know where I am. I know what I've got to do to progress, and it's irrelevant unless someone's got something I want. I'm not fussed about what anyone does.
Where would you, where you look at the sort of, especially the sort of the young heavyweights, I'm sure there's a couple of them that you would have sparred, and guys like Matty Harris, Dakers, I could list off so many names. Where would where do you think that the heavyweight division is right now, British domestically, where you look at the guys like yourself and the prospects?
Yeah. It's in a great position at the minute. You've got I think like the ones leading the charge at British level is obviously Fabio. You've got Fraser, you've got Dakers, Adelaide. Them boys are sort of leading it, and all the other ones are coming up underneath. But people have got to earn their right. Even like Fabio Walder, he's the champion, so he's rightfully calling the shots and who comes next. So fair play to him, and that's what people have got to realise. You've got to, when it's your turn and when it's on the terms of someone who's the champion or who's got the profile, it's up to them.
Absolutely. Just to finish off, I saw your dad's going to go Magaluf after your fight. Are you going to be joining him?
He's in Vegas at the minute, doing something for the Plaza Las Vegas Hotel, enjoying some donuts and different things out there, and then he's off to Magaluf. So, cheeky one to Magaluf if all goes well. We'll get out there for a little party. It is a bit of a shithole, but it's not his
He's having it right off, isn't it? He's absolutely loving it, mate.
I understand. I just don't understand it sometimes. I don't think a lot of people understand it, but fair play to him. If it's the new age we live in, and he is just a normal bloke, and he will never stop being a normal bloke, and I think people buy into that. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I definitely agree with that. I think there's some sort of like authenticity, not even just about your dad, but your whole family. Do you know what I mean? They're like, you appeal to the average UK person. Do you know what I mean?
And I think it's just honesty is a big thing, and not enough people are honest. And I'll never big myself up and say, I'm going to be a world champion, I'm going to be this, I'm going to be that. You'll see my progression as I go, and I know how hard this boxing game is. And my dad's the same. He's honest about what he does, so honesty goes a long way as well. Doesn't mean I don't believe in myself, doesn't mean I'm not confident that I've got a chance against anyone, but I'm a realistic person, and I think people can appreciate that.
Absolutely. Johnny Fisher, thank you for your time, mate. All the best for June 10th, mate. Thank you. Top man, Bosh.